Ladies and gentlemen, life has a way of breaking things. Dreams shatter, relationships fall apart, and sometimes the very fabric of who we are seems to unravel. We face loss, disappointment, and moments so painful that we wonder if we will ever be whole again. But let me tell you something powerful today. What is broken is not beyond repair. What is lost is not beyond restoration. Imagine a sculptor looking at a cracked masterpiece. To the untrained eye, it might seem ruined, useless, but to the sculptor, it is still a work of art waiting to be restored, waiting for a new form, a new beauty. In the same way, life's challenges do not define our end. They set the stage for our rebirth. What feels like the end of the road is often the beginning of something far greater. Think of the times when everything seemed to fall apart, only for you to emerge stronger, wiser, more resilient. Those moments were not meant to destroy you. They were shaping you, refining you. The fire that burns does not consume, it purifies. The storm that rages does not drown you. It washes away what no longer serves you. It is easy to believe that once something is broken, it can never be as good as before. But have you ever seen the art of kintsugi? It is a Japanese technique where broken pottery is repaired with gold, making the cracks not something to be hidden, but something to be celebrated. The idea is simple. What was once broken can be made even more beautiful than before. Your struggles, your pain, your setbacks are not meant to diminish you. They are meant to elevate you. Every great comeback starts with a setback. Every story of triumph begins with a moment of defeat. The people who rise from the ashes are the ones who refuse to believe that their brokenness is the final chapter. They understand that the past does not define the future unless they allow it to. They choose to believe that even when everything seems lost, restoration is not just possible, it is inevitable. So if you are facing a moment of despair, if something in your life feels shattered beyond repair, I urge you to hold on. This is not where your story ends. What is broken today will be whole again. What feels lost will return in a way you never imagined. Sometimes what we thought was the greatest loss turns out to be the greatest blessing. Life is unpredictable. One moment everything seems to be falling into place, and the next it all crumbles before our eyes. The dreams we nurtured, the relationships we cherished, the goals we worked so hard for, sometimes they shatter without warning, leaving behind nothing but fragments of what once was. It is in these moments of brokenness that we feel the weight of defeat, the loneliness of loss, and the fear that things will never be the same again. But what if this breaking was not the end, but a necessary step in the journey of becoming something greater? Pain has a way of making us believe that we are alone in our suffering, that no one else understands what we are going through. But if we look around, we see that every person who has ever accomplished something extraordinary has faced moments of complete brokenness. The most powerful transformations often come from the deepest wounds. The most inspiring victories are born from crushing failures. What seems like destruction in the moment is often the beginning of something beyond our imagination. Think about nature. A seed must first break apart before it can sprout into a tree. The night must reach its darkest point before the dawn arrives. A caterpillar must dissolve inside a cocoon before it can emerge as a butterfly. In the same way, the breaking we experience is not meant to destroy us, it is meant to prepare us. The pain is not punishment, it is part of the process. What feels like the end is actually a transformation, an invitation to rise stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. In the depths of despair, it is easy to believe that nothing will ever change. But history tells us otherwise. People who lost everything have rebuilt their lives in ways they never thought possible. Those who faced heartbreak found love again. Those who were betrayed discovered deeper, more meaningful connections. Those who hit rock bottom realized that rock bottom was the solid foundation upon which they could build something new. The breaking is not the conclusion of your story, it is simply a turning point. Every challenge, every setback, every loss is a chapter in a book that is still being written. And just because a chapter is filled with pain does not mean the ending will be the same. You may not see it now, but restoration is already in motion. So do not fear the breaking. Do not let despair convince you that this is where your journey ends. You are not forgotten, you are not beyond repair, and you are certainly not alone. What is broken today will be made whole again, and when that restoration comes, you will look back and realize that every painful moment was shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. When life falls apart, it is easy to believe that this is the end of the road. The loss feels final, the pain feels unbearable, and the thought of moving forward seems impossible. It is in these moments that doubt creeps in, whispering that things will never get better, that what is broken will stay broken, that what is lost can never be recovered. But that is not the truth. The truth is that every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. What feels like the closing of a door is often the opening of a far greater one. Think of the countless times you thought you would make it through a challenge, yet here you are. The heartbreak you thought would destroy you, the failure you believed would define you, the disappointment that left you questioning everything, somehow you survived it all. Not only did you survive, but you grew from it. You became stronger, wiser, more resilient. You learned things about yourself that you never would have discovered had everything gone according to plan. What you thought was breaking you was actually shaping you. History is filled with stories of people who faced devastating losses only to rise again stronger than before. A business collapses and from its ruins a new empire is built. A dream shatters and from its pieces a new purpose is found. A life is turned upside down only for the person to realize they were meant to walk a completely different path, one far greater than they ever imagined. The pattern is clear. What seems like destruction is often transformation in progress. There's a reason why some of the most remarkable people in the world have endured immense struggles. Adversity is not meant to break us, it is meant to rebuild us. The pain you feel today is not a sign of the end, but proof that something new is beginning. The things that left you feeling shattered were never meant to destroy you, they were meant to prepare you for what's coming next. The most beautiful things in life are often born out of the moments when we thought all hope was lost. When you are in the middle of the storm, it is hard to see the sun behind the clouds. But just because you cannot see it does not mean it is not there. Just because you do not see restoration yet does not mean it is not on its way. Every struggle you have faced is a stepping stone to something greater. Every loss is making room for something better. Every broken piece is not discarded. It is simply being rearranged into a masterpiece beyond anything you could have imagined. So do not let the darkness convince you that the light is gone. This is not the end. The chapter you are in right now is not the conclusion of your story. What feels broken today will be restored. What feels lost will be found again. And one day you will look back and realize that everything that fell apart was only making room for something far greater to come. No matter how shattered life may seem, healing and renewal are always within reach. It is easy to believe that once something is broken, it can never be whole again, that once we lose something valuable, whether it's a dream, a relationship, or a part of ourselves, it is gone forever. But history, nature, and even our own lives prove otherwise. Restoration is not only possible, it is inevitable for those who refuse to give up. Think of a tree after a storm. The wind may break its branches, the rain may strip away its leaves, but does the tree stop growing? No, it does not stand in despair over what it has lost. Instead, it digs its roots deeper into the ground and continues to reach toward the sky. Over time, new leaves sprout, new branches grow, and what was once damaged becomes even stronger than before. The same is true for us. We may face storms that leave us feeling broken, but that does not mean our growth has ended. What was taken from us will be replaced with something greater, something even more beautiful than what we had before. Think of the times when you thought you couldn't move forward, when the pain was so heavy that you believed nothing could ever feel right again. Yet here you are. You survived the things you once thought were impossible to overcome. You found strength when you least expected it. You healed in ways you never thought you could. That is proof that restoration is not just a dream. It is a reality. If you could heal before, you can heal again. If you could rebuild before, you can rebuild again. Sometimes what we think is the end of the story is just a plot twist. What feels like a loss may be making room for something far greater. A closed door might not be rejection, it might be redirection. The pieces of your life that feel scattered right now are not lost forever. They are simply being rearranged into something better. Just because you cannot see the full picture yet does not mean it is not being created. Healing does not always happen overnight. Restoration takes time, patience, and faith. But just like a wound that slowly closes, just like a heart that learns to love again, just like a sunrise after the darkest night, renewal will come. The parts of you that feel broken today will not stay that way forever. Life has a way of mending what is torn, of rebuilding what has fallen, of bringing light where there was once only darkness. So do not believe the lie that what is broken cannot be restored. You're not forgotten. You are not beyond repair. What you have lost will return in a new and unexpected way, and one day you will look back and realize that what once felt like an ending was actually the beginning of something far greater than you ever imagined. What if the things that feel like losses are actually opportunities in disguise? What if the pain you are experiencing now is not meant to break you, but to redirect you towards something greater? It is easy to believe that when something falls apart, it is gone forever, that when a door closes is the end of the journey, but perspective changes everything. The way you see your struggles determines whether they define you or refine you. Think about the moments in your life when things didn't go as planned. Maybe you faced rejection. Maybe you lost a job or relationship or a dream you had poured your heart into. At that moment, it felt like the worst thing that could have happened. But looking back, can you see how those very setbacks led you to something better? How that rejection made way for an opportunity you never would have considered? How that loss created space for something even more meaningful? Life is not about avoiding difficulties, it is about seeing them differently. What you think is a dead end may actually be a detour towards something far greater. A delay does not mean denial. A loss does not mean life is over. Sometimes we hold on so tightly to what we think we need that we fail to see that something even greater is waiting for us, if only we are willing to shift our perspective. There's a story of a man whose business failed. Everything he worked for was gone in an instant. At first he was devastated, believing he had lost everything. But because of that failure, he was forced to rethink his path. He discovered new talents, new passions, and eventually built a business that was 10 times more successful than the one he had lost. Looking back, he realized that what he thought was a tragedy was actually the best thing that ever happened to him. The same is true for you. The things that break you today may be the very things that build you tomorrow. The setbacks that feel unbearable now may be the stepping stones to your greatest success, but you must choose to see them that way. You must choose to believe that nothing is ever truly lost, that every experience is preparing you for something greater, that every difficulty is shaping you into the person you were meant to be. Pain is temporary, perspective is everything. If you can look at your struggles not as the end of the road, but as the beginning of a new journey, you will discover that restoration is not only possible, it is already happening. The story is not over. The best chapters are still being written. What was taken from you will be returned in ways beyond your imagination. And one day you will look back with gratitude, realizing that what you thought was a loss was actually life leading you to something far greater. Every great comeback begins with a setback. Every triumph has a moment of struggle. Every success story has a chapter of failure. And every strong person has a past filled with challenges that once seemed impossible to overcome. But what separates those who rise again from those who stay down is not luck, not circumstances, but the belief that restoration is always possible. That no matter how far you have fallen, no matter how broken things may seem, you can and will rise again. Think of the greatest success stories in the world. The people who inspire us the most are not the ones who had an easy path. They are the ones who faced failure, rejection, loss, and heartbreak, and refused to let those things define them. They did not see their setbacks as the end of the road. They saw them as turning points, as opportunities to grow, as moments that were preparing them for something greater. The truth is, setbacks are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are proof that you are on the verge of something bigger. Just like an arrow must be pulled back before it can be launched forward, sometimes life pulls us backward so that we can be propelled into something greater than we ever imagined. The delay is not a denial. The fall is not final. The hardship you are facing is not here to stop you. It is here to prepare you. Think about nature. A seed must be buried in darkness before it can sprout into a tree. A diamond must endure intense pressure before it can shine. A caterpillar must dissolve completely before it transforms into a butterfly. Growth is never easy. Transformation is never painless. But just because something looks like destruction does not mean it is not part of the process of becoming something greater. Maybe you feel like you have hit rock bottom. Maybe you feel like your dreams have slipped away, your opportunities have disappeared, and your future looks nothing like you imagined. But rock bottom is not a place of defeat. It is a foundation, a place where you can rebuild stronger and wiser than before, a place where you can finally let go of what was holding you back and step into who you are meant to be. What was lost can be found again. What was broken can be restored. The setbacks you face today are not the end of your story. They are just the beginning of a powerful comeback. The pain you feel now is shaping you, strengthening you, molding you into the person you need to become to step into the future that is waiting for you. So do not fear the fall. Do not believe the lie that failure is final. Every great comeback starts with a setback. Every strong person has walked through a season of brokenness, but what sets them apart is their refusal to stay down. And if you keep going, if you refuse to give up, if you believe that restoration is possible, then one day you will look back and see that what felt like the end was actually the beginning of something greater than you ever imagined.
Nothing in life is truly lost. What seems broken beyond repair, what feels like it has been taken away forever, can and will be restored in ways that you never expected. Sometimes the restoration does not look like returning to the past. Sometimes it comes in a new form, a different shape, an unexpected blessing that turns out to be even greater than what was lost. Think about the times in your life when something you wanted so desperately did not work out. A job you thought was your dream slipped through your fingers. A relationship you believed would last forever came to an end. A door you were so sure would open remained closed. In the moment, it felt like the end of the world, but looking back, can you see how that loss led to something better? How what you thought you needed was nothing compared to what life had in store for you? Restoration does not always mean going back to it often means moving forward into something even greater. It means that what was taken from you will be replaced with something beyond what you could have imagined. But you have to be willing to trust the process. You have to be willing to believe that just because things did not go the way you planned does not mean they are not working out exactly as they should. Think about the seasons of life. Trees lose their leaves in the fall. Everything looks barren, lifeless, empty. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. Roots are growing deeper, new life is being prepared, and when the time is right, spring arrives and the trees bloom again, fuller, stronger, more beautiful than before. If nature understands that loss is not permanent, why do we struggle to believe the same for our own lives? You may be in a season where things feel barren, where what once was is no longer there, where you feel as if you have been stripped of the things that made you feel whole. But seasons change. What is gone is not gone forever. What feels empty today is simply making space for something new. What is broken is not beyond repair, it is being prepared for something even greater. It is often in our moments of greatest loss that we discover our true strength. When we are stripped of the things we once held on to, we learn what really matters. We learn to let go of the things that no longer serve us. We learn that our worth is not tied to what we have, but to who we are. And in that realization, we find freedom, we find peace, we find restoration in ways we never expected. So do not fear the losses. Do not believe that what is gone will never return in some form. The greatest things in life are not behind you, they are ahead of you. And one day you will look back and realize that every loss, every heartbreak, every disappointment was simply life clearing the way for something even more beautiful. What is broken will be restored, not always in the way you expect, but always in the way that is meant for you.
Restoration is not just about getting back what was lost. It is about becoming more than you ever were before. It is about growth, transformation, and stepping into a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever imagined. When something breaks, it does not mean it is the end. It means there is an opportunity for something even greater to take its place. Think about the most inspiring people in history. They're the ones who have changed lives, created legacies, and left an impact on the world. They are not the ones who never faced hardship. They are the ones who took their pain and turned it into purpose. They are the ones who faced loss, disappointment, and failure, yet refused to let those things define them. Instead of staying broken, they rebuilt. Instead of giving up, they rose again. Instead of letting life's challenges defeat them, they used those challenges to become something greater. Pain is a part of life, but it does not have to be your identity. Your past struggles, your broken moments, your darkest days, they are not who you are. They are simply chapters in your story, and the story is far from over. You are not defined by what has been lost. You are defined by how you rise after the loss. You are not defined by what broke you. You are defined by how you choose to rebuild. Think about the strongest structures in the world. Before they were built, the ground had to be cleared, old foundations had to be broken down, the land had to be prepared for something stronger to be built in its place. The same is true for you. What feels like destruction in your life may actually be preparation. The things that have been removed, the doors that have closed, the people who have walked away, these are not signs of your downfall. They are signs that something new is being built, something stronger, something more beautiful, something that will last. You may not see it yet, but restoration is already happening. The pieces are coming together. The pain is shaping you. The struggle is strengthening you. And one day you will look back and realize that everything you went through, every tear you shed, every moment of doubt was leading you to something greater. Do not be afraid of the process. Do not resist the change. What is meant for you will not pass you by. What was broken will not stay broken forever. You are being rebuilt, not just to be who you once were, but to become the person you were always meant to be. One day you will stand tall, look back at your journey, and see that every loss was a lesson. Every setback was a setup for something greater, and every broken piece was simply being rearranged into something. Life has a way of breaking all of us at some point. It tests our strength, challenges our faith, and pushes us to the edge of what we think we can handle. But the truth is, what feels like the breaking point is often the beginning of something new. The things that shatter us do not do so to destroy us, but to rebuild us into something even greater. What was lost is never truly lost. What was broken is never beyond repair. And the person you are becoming through it all is far stronger than the person you were before. Every scar, every setback, every moment of despair has a purpose. They are not signs of weakness, but of survival. They are not proof of failure, but of resilience. You have already overcome so much more than you thought you could. You have already stood back up when you believed you couldn't go on. And if you have done it before, you can do it again. The same strength that carried you through your hardest days is still within you, waiting to rise once more. There is a bigger plan at work, a plan that is not about loss, but about transformation, a plan that does not just restore what was broken, but turns it into something even greater, a plan that takes what was once pain and turns it into purpose. The things that have been removed from your life were never meant to break you. They were meant to open space for something new. The hardships you have endured were not meant to define you, but to refine you. You are not forgotten, you are not abandoned, and you are certainly not beyond restoration. You are a work in progress, a masterpiece in the making, a story that is still being written. The best chapters are yet to come. The things you thought you lost will return in unexpected ways, and one day you will see that every setback, every challenge, every broken moment was simply part of the journey towards something far greater than you ever imagined. So do not give up. Do not lose faith. Keep moving forward. Even when the path is unclear, trust that every broken piece is being put back together. Every loss is making room for something better, and every struggle is shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. And when you finally reach the other side, you will look back and realize that what you thought was the end was actually the beginning of something extraordinary. You were never broken beyond repair. You were simply being prepared for something greater